What's going on, guys? I'm back, and I'm here to talk to you guys today about Wes Welker. And I was not with the Patriots anymore. He signed with Denver, 2 years, $12 million, and I'm basically going to give my thoughts on it. I know a lot of fans, a lot of diehard Patriots fans, including myself, to a certain extent, are just pissed off that the Patriots couldn't really agree to a deal. They wouldn't pay him the extra million or 2 million that West wanted. Um, I mean, I think from a standpoint of the Patriots having a very clear history about these types of deals and contracts with players that are older are pretty well documented. And them basically making the best decision for the quote unquote team, which really, I mean, I don't think this has anything has any relevance of making the team. This was the right team decision. I ultimately think they made this decision because they didn't want to pay Welker the money he wanted. They wanted him back on their terms and not his. And honestly, I think they should have gotten a contract done last season before they franchised him. Um, Obviously, I mean, I think that Welker wanted to come back, but he wanted what every player wants, which is money. Obviously, there really wasn't a big market for Welker this year. I only think a handful of teams would have signed him, like Denver, San Francisco. Maybe he would have went back to Miami or whatever. But I mean, ultimately, the Patriots did not want to pay Wes Welker, and people that cover the Patriots, for the past couple weeks, past couple of months, whatever, have been saying that they were really close on a deal. They're very close to getting it signed and things are looking good. Blah blah blah, which I don't ever think was the case. I mean, I don't think they were ever close on a deal. I mean, I think the Patriots offered him a deal. I mean, the last deal that they offered him before he signed with Denver was 2 years at $10 million. So that's around what, like four, like 5 million a year, something like that. And the Broncos paid him 12 million, so they paid him 2 million more. And if that's really what the Patriots did not want to pay him was 12 million when they had the money, I mean there definitely is a personal issue with Wes Welker. Whether it was against Belichick, against the Crafts, against the organization, um, you know whatever the case was. I mean I don't think that Welker wanted to re-sign here because he had a lot of personal issues, with Bill Belichick or with the Crafts or with the organization of the way he's been treated the past couple of years as far as not being able to get a contract done, especially especially last year when they paid him, when they franchised him. I think he got 9.5 million, which they I don't believe wanted to pay him that money at all. They just did it because they wanted him to come back another year and see if they could work something out. I thought when he signed that, I thought he was either going to be traded, um, or he was going to, eventually sign a long-term contract, or they would just let him go, if they couldn't agree to one. And it's funny with the Patriots that I don't think a lot of people realize that they've done this for a long time with players like this, that want money and want, their contract. I can think back to Ty Law when he wanted his contract and he wanted his money and the Patriots wouldn't give it to him. I can think back to Richard Seymour, when he was at the end of his deal when they traded him to Oakland. So it goes to show that the Patriots wanted to keep Welker. If they didn't want him, then they would have traded him like they traded Richard Seymour, like they traded Mike Vrabel, Matt Castle, um, and you think back to a guy like Adam Vinatieri, who, I mean, obviously for a kicker it's different to pay him a lot of money for a multi-year deal, but he really wasn't mistreated. I mean, he was franchised 2 years in a row before he left for the Colts. So the Patriots have had a clear history with this type of shit with players and contracts and agents, and and they don't play well with other agents. They don't commit or submit to other players' agents. They want it done on their terms, on their money, their way or the highway, and that's how it's always been. I mean, for some players, I mean, obviously for players like Brady, they've always pretty much honored him for everything he's done. But I mean, who's to say that that over the last 6 years, Wes Welker has certainly been the best slot receiver in football. I mean, you could really point to the Tom Brady. Yeah, he had a lot to do with that. But Wes Welker is, a talented guy. I mean, the only knock I had against Wes Welker is he dropped a lot of passes when it mattered the most. whether it was this year in the AFC Championship game against the Ravens, when it was back to the Super Bowl in '07. So and that's just to name a few, but he's dropped a lot of key passes over his career, his 6 years here. And that's the only knock I had against him, and I'm sure that's what the Patriots had brought up when they were negotiating the contracts is of the drop passes, which I mean does have a lot of an effect on Welker. Had the Patriots won a couple of Super Bowls with Welker, then I think things probably would have turned out differently than what they did. But he didn't. He's been known for that. That's the only knock I have against him. I mean, he's a great slot receiver. He's a great catcher. He's very quick, and he's done a lot of great things for the Patriots. And I know him and Brady were really good friends. But ultimately, this came down to you know, the Patriots want it done on their terms and not on Welker's terms. And clearly, there was an issue with him and the organization. For them to not, match the offer with Denver for an extra $2 million really goes out of the way of saying something that there was a lot of issues with Welker, with the organization. I would guess, maybe Belichick because I think Kraft wanted him to come back. But we'll probably never know, but I do think it's pretty clear to point out that the Patriots have done this with a lot of their players, like I mentioned, like Ty Law, Richard Seymour, Mike Vrabel, Matt Castle, Adam Vinatieri. I mean, they've done this for a while with certain players and contracts. And obviously, Welker's going to be turning 32, but at the stage of where Brady is right now in his career, he's turning what 36, I think, yeah, 36, pretty sure. Um, I think Welker is going to have, great production for the next 2 years, at least until he's 34. Um, and, Brady's 36, so now they're going to bring in Amendola, who clearly is probably going to play the slot. I don't think he's going to, play, the outside receiver. I think he's only 5'10", so he most likely is going to play slot. Which, if he does, then clearly like there was an issue with Wes Welker if he plays the slot. But anyways, if he plays the slot, then it's bringing in a new receiver, and yeah, he's younger. He's 27 years old. They signed him to a 5-year deal. I think it was like around $30 million. I think 10 million is guaranteed. So obviously they're gonna have to get him acclimated to the system and all their plays and all this other shit. So now Brady's gonna have to, again have to build that trust with, like yet another receiver when he had all the trust in the world from Welker for past 6 years. So now Brady has to get to know him now, acclimate him to the system. Him and Brady have to have good chemistry with each other for the team to be successful. Depending on if Gronkowski and Hernandez are both healthy, then I think they'll be fine, but we don't really know that because they haven't been healthy over the past couple of years. So obviously, I think if they had just kept Welker, it would have made more sense because if they brought Welker in and then they signed another receiver, like another deep threat, like a Donald Driver, which I wish they would have done, but I don't think they're going to do that, then their team would probably be unstoppable on offense. You would have Welker in the slot, you have Driver on the outside, you have Hernandez and Gronk, both tight ends who can stretch the field. That team would be unstoppable. To me, it just doesn't make sense. There wasn't. This didn't come down to money. It came down to the Patriots wanted it done on their terms. They had all the money. They have like $27 million in cap, so they could have paid Welker the $12 million. They just didn't want to because they wanted it done on their terms. I just think it's ridiculous. Obviously, Welker has dropped a lot of key passes that could have won them Super Bowls, yeah, but he's also had great production over the last 6 years. I absolutely loved Welker as a receiver. I think if they had kept him for 2 years and then if his production went down, then you let him go. But his production has been steady over the past 6 years, and this just came down to the Patriots yet again just blowing it. They wanted it done on their terms. They didn't want to pay Welker the 12 million. They wanted 10. They think this is the best decision for the team, which clearly it isn't. And the Patriots have always done this with certain players and contracts and money, as I've said over and over again. So it really isn't any surprise. I would say I'm, a little upset because if Amendola doesn't live up to the hype, obviously I think he's going to be a better receiver. Obviously, if Brady's the quarterback, but if he doesn't put up the same production, I don't necessarily think he has to put up the same production as Welker, but if he isn't really, a good slot receiver or isn't a receiver that, can adapt to this offense, then I think it's going to be a loss. But that's all I really have to say. Just let me know what you guys think about this whole thing. Do you think the Patriots just blew it? Do you think they made the right decision or not? I mean, I just think they made the wrong decision of where Brady is in his career. They should have just brought back West for 2 more years and then just figure it out when his 2-year deal was over. But of course, the Patriots want it done on their terms. So leave comments, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and just let me know what you guys think in the comment section. All right, that's it. I'm out. Peace.